Small Travel.
We're in
Baku,
Azerbaijan.
the land of fire. So a lot of people compare Baku to Dubai, but we don't quite agree with them.
Azerbaijan reminded us more of Turkey. Azerbaijan was a destination we enjoyed very much.
Big and small explore Baku, the capital city of Azerbaijan.
This is the land of oil and endless amounts of tea.
Where Turkish, Persian, and Soviet influences seamlessly blend together.
Baku sits on the Caspian Sea.
Azerbaijan is located between Russia and Iran.
And western neighbors Georgia and Armenia, who they have ongoing land disputes with. We started and flew from Dubai United Arab Emirates to Baku, Azerbaijan. Dubai is quite the futuristic city.
This is where the oil industry began. Find out why Azerbaijan is one of Big and Small's favorite destinations so far. We're in Baku, Azerbaijan. That's how you feel?
This is how we feel traveling too much, just like this bear.
We stayed a couple miles outside of the center of Baku. We got ourselves a pretty spacious apartment.
We are staying a little outside the center of Baku, so we're definitely getting a local experience here. Hello. Locals have been very friendly, very nice. Baklava.
Look at that beauty.
Yes, baklava has been a favorite since Big and Small started traveling in Greece.
Food is not just sustenance here. It's sacred.
The bread is very important, as you'll see.
This is like a puffy lavash bread that looks amazing.
So that you miss, that's a bread you earn your life, but then you drop under your feet. You disrespect it.
Yeah.
You disrespect your life. So you have to put a much higher point to honor it, respect it this way.
Yeah, because bread is life.
That bread is life.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What's up with the water?
We are walking along the Caspian Sea here in Baku. The first thing you notice is the smell of oil, and then if you look, the water looks almost kind of glassy. If you look closer, you actually definitely see some oil in this water. This is clearly an oil-rich country. We are between Russia and Iran here.
Something we discovered being here, the birthplace of the petroleum oil industry actually some of it comes from Azerbaijan. There's evidence from the 3rd and 4th century that it's been mined here. And noted travelers like Marco Polo and others have noted that they're actually gushing oil wells that just come naturally from the ground here. Don't know if we'll be able to see it, but pretty cool. This temple is pretty much near the city or area called Surikani. And Surikani is where the first oil refinery in the world was ever built.
So this area of the world has a ton of history. There's actually evidence of human settlers here over 20,000 years ago. So this area has long been a sacred spot for the fires. But the temple itself was only built in the 16th and 17th century and became a Hindu temple. And this was actually part of the Silk Road. So I think some of the ones from India came up here and saw the fires and were intrigued and built this temple.
We are at the fire temple here in Baku. The official name is Atashga. Atash is fire in Persian. This was built originally by the Persians, used later by Indians, Sikhs, and the Zoroastrians in Iran. The flame you see in front of us is being fed or lit by petroleum. It went out in 1969 because of all the oil exploration in the area. But what keeps us going is the oil. The oil industry began in Azerbaijan. And one thing that we've noticed, some first impressions here, being here a very short time, Baku is a very clean city. Good morning from Baku. We are trying a traditional Azeri breakfast.
This is the national breakfast. It's a lot of dairy, so there's a lot of cheeses here and butter, some jams, and fig, grapes, more cheeses, walnuts, tomatoes, cucumbers, and a nice big basket of bread.
We are at Yanar Dağ.
That means burning mountain.
We are here at a good time. Why? Azerbaijan is changing a lot.
So we saw signs that the tickets were for 9 manat per person, but the guy was like, no, that's next month. So we actually got in for just 2 manat per person. So
And 2 manat is about $1.20
Yeah.
USD. I don't know, this kind of may seem a little bit puny, but we hope it does dazzle you.
So this burning mountain is more like a small burning hill. It's coming from the natural gas. And there's many different stories of maybe why this has started. But they think that it was like around the 1950s, a shepherd kind of just threw a cigarette, and the fire has gone ever since. The shepherd herder. So eternal flame, sort of.
It is not so warm in Azerbaijan now, so you can feel the heat. Small?
Getting picked up in a lot of.
Wow. Soviet reference and reverence to bald and bankrupt.
Maiden Tower?
The Maiden Tower actually dates from the time when it was Zoroastrian. So it's over 1,000 years in origin. And it became a watchtower in the 18th century. But it has Zoroastrian origins. And the Zoroastrians originate from what is today called Iran. We are only 120 miles from the Iranian border here in Baku.
This is on the edge of the old town. We're going to explore more of the old town. We are getting lost in the old town. This part has a lot of sort of antique shopping. And here are some of the costumes. What is this called?
Kutab.
Gutab. Okay.
The name?
This is kutab, a traditional Azeri dish. It's kind of like a savory pancake, often filled with either meat, cheese, or spinach. So if you don't want to go in the palace, which is actually pretty small, you can at least walk around it. We're within the complex right now. And those are the flame towers. This one is 15 manat, which is about 8 to 9 USD.
Being here in Baku, it seems like things are definitely being opened up. So you can get around and do a lot for free, even when you think you can't.
It's fully restored, which doesn't make it as exciting.
Definitely not.
And, you know, we've done a few palaces, and yeah, not really our thing.
No. But you get to see us under this.
Oh.
Pretty cool, huh? We get to do it free of charge. Literally, walk around the palace. There's quite a few things you can do for free. Now we're going into a pretty old mosque here in Baku. A lot of them did, unfortunately, close down during the Soviet occupation. So it is definitely rare to see some that are still restored and actually existing.
You can get around Baku pretty easily with the metro, and it is very affordable. You just get a card like this. It's just going to cost you 20 cents for the card. That equals about 18 cents in USD.
What?
So that's one ride.
You definitely will see some pretty interesting architecture. And there are some definitely impressive new buildings with some creative designs. This is not too far from where we're staying as well. Maybe only about a 10-minute walk.
So there is a funicular here you can take up to the flame towers, but there's also a nice big staircase. And we always love to take the stairs. So let's do it.
As we're going up the steps towards the flame towers, you can definitely see a better view of the Caspian Sea behind me. And the Caspian is a defining feature of Baku for many reasons. Primarily the oil, the big expanse of water. It's definitely a point where you definitely see where Baku is fortunate in its geographic location.
This is one of the better views of Baku. We went up the steps, went to the left, there was another staircase, and you get a nice view of the Caspian Sea and the city.
So coming up here, we had to go up some steps that reminded me of my time in Odessa, Ukraine. The Potemkin steps. Much different history though. These three skyscrapers represent Baku and Azerbaijan They are flame-shaped towers symbolizing the element of fire and gas that represent the nation. There are a lot of statues, plaques around the center. Haydar Aliyev is considered the modern architect, the architect of modern Azerbaijan. We are in Baku having Azeri tea. Azeri tea is a little bit different. You have jam. This is actually cherries. You're supposed to eat the cherries before you have the tea. The cherry is sweet, the tea is bitter. It's a nice mixture, it's a nice pairing. We have the suduet. This is a pastry.
They actually have like really awesome bakeries, but we don't know what's going on. There's Turkish baklava, which we're a little more familiar with, and the Azeri style baklava. And no, not many people speak English.
99.5% don't speak English.
Yeah, they don't. Like,
it's fine.
Barely anything, so it actually feels like real traveling. We're continuing to explore. The guy just said go inside. Just go inside, so that's what we're doing.
We're pretty compliant.
I see bread.
What would happen if I dropped this piece of bread on the ground? The thought of dropping this on the ground. Let's not even think about that.
Kiss it.
Okay, let's move on to the next clip. You'll see what I'm talking about.
So I read that if you drop bread, you pick it up and kiss it because it's so important.
Yes.
Is that true?
That's true. You do not just kiss it. You put on your forehead and then kiss it and then place it in a much higher point. So that you miss, that's a bread you earn your life, but then you drop under your feet. You disrespect it.
Yeah.
You disrespect your life. So you have to put a much higher point to honor it, respect it this way.
Okay, so it is true. Bread is really a sacred thing here. So if you drop bread, you got to pick it up and put it here. Forehead, kiss it, and place it high because it's essentially life. That's how important it is. And the bread is very good here. Nice businessman with a gold hand.
This is a pretty popular museum here, the Carpet Museum here in Baku. Things are being built as we speak as we visit Baku. And as we pan over to the right, there is the Caspian Mall. This is Nizami. Nizami is a poet, an epic romantic poet originally from Persia.
We're in the center of Baku, just outside of the city walls of the old town. And it's a very walkable city. It's a great city to walk through.
People compare Baku to Dubai. We don't see it. There are not that many skyscrapers here. Of course, there are newer buildings being built, but it's not the norm.
Tons of great produce here in Baku. You'll often find a lot of these little stands. This is our neighborhood one with our guy Safa inside. He had amazing peaches.
Let's say hi to Safa. Our second to last full night here in Azerbaijan.
So we're at a traditional restaurant here, and I love all of this type of food.
This is lavash bread.
Amazing. It's very heavy. And this just looks like cheese, butter, walnuts, olives, Big loves the dolmas and the hummus.
This is the doner. The doner is obviously popular because of Turkey, and the obvious influences in the cuisine is pretty much here in this restaurant. Meat, fries, barbecue tomato.
This is also pretty classic, the chicken shish.
Coffee time! Turkish coffee.
But I did have my first Turkish coffee in Plovdiv, which you can see right here. This is my second one, and I'm still not in Turkey yet. And this is without sugar, so I'm going all out. But they do give you some chocolates on the side, which I love. So, little cup. I think it's better than the one in Plovdiv. It's Turkish coffee is very intense, very bold. It's like the oil that this country is filled with.
In Plovdiv, I believe you said it tasted like instant coffee, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
this seems a little finer.
Off to Coffee Mania, our favorite neighborhood local spots. This is the Turkish breakfast. We're having it here in Baku, near where we're staying. This is very, very big. Look at this. This costs 22 manat, which is about 12 USD. Yum.
This is mini Venice in the middle of Baku. And we just got the boat to ourselves. The gondola guide is finishing a cigarette.
We have to wait for the cigarette break to be over. But we were...
Bella, bella.
As Small said, we are on a gondola. It's a motorized gondola here in Baku. I'm definitely feeling like it was a little too short to be here in Baku. It was much better than expected here. All of the street musicians we saw, what a surprise. Very good. Also just finding out about the history with the oil, the fire. We're a little sad to leave Baku.
Yeah, so we've been in Baku for a little under 2 weeks, and we actually really grew to like it a lot. In fact, we're sad about leaving. We're excited to see Georgia, but we could spend some more time here. We loved the food, and the people here are great, very sweet, but we still managed to make a few connections with people around here, and we do hope to come back.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.
And don't forget to click the bell to get all of our updates.
Thank you very much.
Çuk sigol.
Ciao.
Ciao.